12-time Grammy winner is John Legend, and he is among the many celebrities here in Chicago this week for the Democratic National Convention. I spoke with him in an exclusive broadcast interview about whether celebrity endorsements actually do something, to quote Michelle Obama, and why he's backing Kamala Harris.
Politics affects all of our lives, and we're all citizens. We all have a stake in what happens in this country. We pay taxes here. Our kids are growing up here, going to schools here, and I don't want to sit out. I want to make sure that my voice is heard, but also that I lift up other voices and make sure they're heard too.
I heard someone the other day describe Kamala Harris as famous and yet not well known, meaning that they don't know all the details of her biography, maybe not all the details of what she believes. So for people in that category, just getting to know her, you've endorsed her. Why?
Well, I live in California, so I've gotten to watch her run for election multiple times and seen how smart and charismatic and empathetic and how ready she is for this. She's prepared herself for this role. She is eminently qualified to be president, and then she also has the right character traits, I think, to be a great president, which means she cares about people's lives, wants government to work for people and improve their lives.
The fact that Democrats seem to do better with creatives, with celebrities, it cuts both ways.
Sure.
On the one hand, it creates a lot of interest, particularly among young people. But on the other hand, it allows Republicans to look at the party and say it's the party of coastal elites.
It's just Hollywood elites, I understand.
It's the party of Hollywood.
But then they're represented by a guy who grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth, who was gifted a real estate company, grew up in New York City, and is only famous because he was on national television playing a businessman. So, you know, it doesn't ring very true for them to accuse us of being the Hollywood elites. I'm from Springfield, Ohio. I grew up in a blue-collar family. I would not even comprehend the kind of upbringing someone like Donald Trump had.
If there are one or two or three areas of policy that say this is why I'm a Democrat and this is why I support Kamala Harris, what are they?
People look at me now and they see the glamour and the celebrity, but I grew up in a blue-collar family in a blue-collar town in Ohio, and from my experience through the years, the Democratic Party has cared more about those types of families, making sure life is better for workers, people who are struggling to stay in the middle class, struggling to get into the middle class, and that means caring about housing costs, caring about Social Security, caring about a safety net that protects people and make sure their children have an opportunity to grow up and have opportunity and thrive in this country.
What convinces you, as John Legend, that the celebrity support for the Democrats and for Kamala Harris benefits Democrats, actually helps?
I think it can go both ways, like you said, but I think it's important for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to focus on the people. Don't focus on us. Go out there, talk to the people, listen to their concerns. And you can tell from the policy pronouncements that Vice President Harris put out last week talking about the economy. She's not doing that for me. She's doing that for everyday Americans. And that's what she needs to keep her eye on and keep her ear to, is the concerns of everyday Americans.
What do you think the winning argument is, in closing here, for the Democrats in 2024?
Well, I think they've been making it, is that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz care about people like you. They care about ordinary Americans, and they want to make life better for ordinary Americans. And their opponent cares about enriching himself and his other rich friends, and the difference is very clear.
I love that picture of John Legend as a teenager in front of the simple brick house he grew up in. His father, a factory worker, was able to afford that on one salary. That is not possible in a lot of places anymore, and that's a lot about what this election is focused on.
Yeah, and I think even hearing more about, as John Legend was saying, policy. I think policy is key, because even as people want to feel like it's someone they could have a beer with, so to speak, you need to pay attention to what is actually being said. Even in the soundbite with the gentleman that you spoke to who said about the stimulus checks,
yeah.
that was actually passed by Democrats. It just had Donald's name on the check, so.